Deja vu. Thank God YouTube exists so we don't forget what happened and what the media was talking about climate change in 2017.
One of the biggest crises we face, climate change, and a media war over that crisis. Climate deniers, people who believe climate change is not happening in any meaningful way, are sometimes painted in the media as fringe characters, as kooks. So this might shock you.
Brian's still got a job at CNN. Hey, y'all, welcome to Cross Politics. Pastor Toby Chalk Knox, and I'm the Water Boy. It is good to be with you on this Monday evening.
Why you got to start the show like that?
You shouldn't have a job.
Folks, our upcoming Fight Laugh Feast conference is just 4 months away from happening in Knoxville, Tennessee, October 6th through the 8th. Don't miss Beer and Psalms, our amazing lineup of speakers, which includes George Gilder, Jared Longshore, Pastor Doug Wilson, Dr. Ben Merkel, me, and Chocolate Knox.
I'm so happy about this.
And Gabe the Water Boy. We're all going to be there, but Knox is going to be doing what? What's it called?
A counseling session with Knox.
In front of everybody.
We're going to have 4 people there to help me.
No, you're talking about like storytelling and building culture.
We'll have a little bit of that too.
Because
Knox just needs help.
And don't miss our awesome vendors, meeting new friends, stuff for the kids too, like jumpy castles and infant baptisms. Also, did you know you can, I'm just kidding about that part. You can save money by signing up for a club membership. Go to fightlaughfeast.com, sign up for a club membership, and then register for the conference with that club discount, $100 off. We can't wait to fellowship, sing psalms, and celebrate God's goodness with you in Knoxville, October 6th through the 8th.
We said in 2020 that this whole COVID pandemic experiment is a setup for another pandemic.
Yeah, we said that pretty early in the conversation.
It's a setup to condition us for someone else. Well, Project Veritas, one of the few, what can we say, actual journalists out there.
Yeah.
They're hitting this with CNN right now.
His story comes up, they're going to latch onto it. They've already announced in our office that once the public will be open to it, we're going to start focusing mainly on climate, climate like global warming, and like that's going to be our next I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be our focus. Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
What does that look like?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I have a feeling it's just going to be like constantly showing videos of like decline in ice and weather warming up and like the effects it's having on the economy and really talking
Besides that,
head of the network, like
this is a little bit, this goes, I don't know what year this was done. This is not,
I think it was done in the last year, but it was before Zucker had stepped down.
He's going to mention his name in just a moment.
That's right.
But notice, what this guy from CNN, this is not journalism. Right? This is him saying, this is what we are going to train people to do. When the people are ready, we're going to tell them, now this is the next thing. Just like we were working on getting Trump out of office without saying it.
Yeah.
We are going to make climate the issue.
The next pandemic.
It's the next pandemic.
When we were prepping this clip, our producer Neil asked, he's like, what do you have to do to get a guy to say stuff like this? And I thought that was a really great question because this guy.
Take him to a bar
with a lady.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about this before.
All these dudes that get hit by Project Veritas is with a lady.
It's usually with the lady, and even the ladies that get hit with a lady too. That's probably for different reasons, right? Yeah. But it's he's got to be compromised in a couple ways because he thinks that he's got a girl over here that he's going to be able to kick it with later and stuff. It just tells about how and it's just like, man, that's not. One of the other things I thought about was if this was a doctor who I came to for help, and the doctor is only allowed to prescribe things by the pharmaceutical industry because that's who he's in bed with. I'm going to be a very sick patient, and at least I'm not going to be getting the kind of health care that I need in order to actually be able to heal.
You know what you need is a COVID vaccine.
Do you hate me?
But this is exactly what the old founder of the Weather Channel.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. That's what Brian Seltzer was just getting set up to talk to him about.
John Coleman.
I've said before here on Reliable Sources that I don't think there are two equal sides to climate change. The scientific consensus is that it's real. The debate is over what to do about it. And the press has to be careful about creating this notion of sides.
Oh, they do.
I don't like that.
I don't
don't like that at all because that's exactly what the press is supposed to do.
Well, he's trying to set it up like he's going to be a journalist.
Well, he's already given away that there's only one way to have this conversation. We should not act like one side is right and one side is wrong. We should just make sure that there's only one side to this. Right. And the only question that we should be arguing about is how to fix it. Not whether or not it exists, but that's actually not what a true journalist does. Right. A journalist is supposed to say, says who? Where are the facts for that? And argue and say, well, this person says these are facts. This doesn't seem to make sense. And this, by the way, this person gets all their funding from this side. Right. This other person, he's just following. That's what a journalist is supposed to do and investigate the whole situation.
That's what he's going to get called on.
I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change. And I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kenny's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not talking. Done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney, and yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform, and I regret it's become political instead of scientific, but the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder, though, is when you see
you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the air and got a chance to talk to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
So that's John Coleman. He's the founder of the Weather Channel.
Yeah. Back in 2017 is when this conversation was had.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah.
Do you think they would let this happen now?
No. No, it's much more controlled now.
I mean, this is kind of like back to our conversation with Naomi Wolf last week.
Which, by the way, got canceled.
The how much the world has changed.
Yeah, right.
Like, I think that was probably a pretty uncomfortable conversation for CNN to air.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think it's very unlikely they would ever let that happen again.
But isn't the question supposed to be, sir, could you help me? Because it seems like most of the scientists that are out there right now are on the other side of the conversation.
Well, that's actually
what he ends up
saying.
Yeah.
When you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree, do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
That's a manipulated figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year.
Billion?
It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party position. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position. Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming. Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is. It's real simple. But that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for. The money goes in circles.
This is back in 2017. So we've had ample opportunity to be able to explain this, for CNN to be able to say, well, hold on a second. John's telling us something's going on. Yeah. Let's go grab some of all the money that we have and our journalists and put them behind and see if this is the truth and bring out stories and point this out. But that's not what they end up doing. We just saw the clip from, who was it?
Brian Seltzer?
No. The clip from
Project Veritas.
I just lost their name that quick. Project Veritas with them saying, hey, we got numbers, or we got word from on high to make sure that we push out the climate change stuff.
That's the next pandemic.
Exactly. Yep. And this is the point. most of what we have going on is a breakdown of the fourth estate.
Right. What's the fourth estate?
The fourth estate is what Edmund Burke would call the press.
Yeah.
So we have
journalism.
Yeah, journalism. Yeah, the press journalism. So we have these four estates. One of them is the clergy. So we got the church, the clergyman. We have noblest, and then we have the commoners. And so that's kind of common people. And then we have people who are the nobles. You said that. Yeah, that's actually probably me because we got clergy right here. You're kind of considered clergy being a deacon too. So
I don't know.
I'm the commoner in the room. But we talked about this in Edmund Burke's time. They had the aristocracy,
right.
But now the aristocracy would be,
I think, just all celebrities, basically. I mean, I think that's the
like Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Sure.
Unfortunately, yes,
That's right.
Yes, I think so. I think Hollywood. I think
Yeah.
athletes.
Yeah.
I think I mean, when they speak, everybody reports on what they said.
Yes,
Yeah.
And whenever they tweet, everybody reports on what they said.
Right.
Aristocracy, you typically historically led both with the way they invested in community financially,
Right.
Yes.
but also they were influential. They were
Cultural,
what we
influential
call
figures.
influencers.
Yeah.
You know, but
like Elon Musk.
their opinions,
Yep.
people they cared about.
and part of the commoners or the common group, folks like me, part of our power was the ability to be able to control the market and where we spent our money at.
Yeah.
So if we didn't spend our money in a place, it was obvious that we didn't like that, we didn't want that, or we didn't support it.
Right.
That's kind of broken up now because of the way things are. Our only resource has kind of become Machiavellian, that we only see power in the political side or the famous side. So we buy our aristocracy in one way or another. But the breakdown happens when none of these groups, the clergy, the noble, and the commoners, have ability to know what each other's going on in their circles. You just don't walk into the common group and say, what's going on here with the commoners? Well, that's what the press does.
Right.
The press is the one that investigates.
Supposed to report.
Supposed to. What's going on with the common people? How are they operating? How are they spending their money? What don't they like? And then the clergy is like, oh, well, they should actually know that, but there's been a breakdown there.
Right.
And as well as the nobles say, wait a second, we aren't helping the community that we want to help, or there's things going on in these other circles that the common folk don't know, and so we can't trust. So when you lose the fourth
we just need an
estate,
estate sale. Just
well, no,
sell them all.
well, no. Actually, what we need is a more noble, virtuous
Journalism.
press and
Yep.
journalism, so that we can learn to trust the other estates.
Well, so part of the problem here is I think the number is 92. It's 87 or 92% of journalists are Democrats.
There you go.
And so we've, in a lot of ways, Christians have abandoned journalism.
Well, and a lot of it's bought and paid for. I mean,
And then the government's
what
paying.
John was just saying about
That's right.
CNN or about the scientists that are 97% support climate change.
Republicans aren't any better, though.
It's true.
And, I go through and I read numerous articles and watch all the videos, and when I watch them, they don't. Just think about it like this. When you look on the news, look at just the basic news reporting. Like, where is that at? Just give me the stories that's happening. That doesn't exist. It's mainly on the local level if you find it, but it doesn't exist as broadly, right? It's all opinion pieces. Everything's opinion. And I just want the facts of what happened here in politics.
This is, sorry, finish your thought.
No, the other thing I want to say about the fourth estate is the fourth estate, which is the press, are a mediator between us and politics. They go to meetings that we can't go. I can't always go to my city council meeting. I can't always go to watch CNN 24/7. But the press being there is saying, hey, this is what's going on over there, and this is what you need to be paying attention to, just so you know this is what happened. So they're also a mediator between us. When that all breaks down and they stop, the guard dog doesn't bark, then intruders can enter inside the fence.
One of the things that's actually, though, at the same time encouraging about, as messed up as the whole thing is, on the scene comes smartphones and social media.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's
alternative press.
Gatekeepers, taking away the gatekeepers.
The gatekeepers, though, have lost their power. I mean, 50 years ago, that was all you had.
That's
You
true.
had 3 networks and, whatever, and that was all you had.
Right.
But now you got a smartphone and you can live stream via Facebook, TikTok, whatever.
Elijah Schaefer, that's how he got where he was.
And there's plenty of that going on, which is part of the reason why there has been so much pushback and why these old legacy media outlets are, what happened to CNN Plus?
Yeah, they're
went down.
regrouping.
Yeah,
they're regrouping.
They still got $700 million slated for that project.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's old money, and nobody trusts them.
That's true.
Well,
And
I do think there's a coasting to a crash that's going to happen.
Right.
I do think just thinking in terms of like what we're doing across politics and kind of the business model that we've been thinking through, I do think there's going to be this passing of the guard between old media and new media in the next 20 years.
Right.
And I think old media is bloated. I mean, they're paying, Sean Hannity $30 million a year. They're paying, massive amounts to
talk to Bruce Jenner.
Seriously.
Really?
In all these ways. And Lord willing, over time, we'd like to build a network of journalists that are actually reporting.
Well, this is where, the commoners, where we spend our money at and what we build is important, and whether or not we're going to have the fourth estate existing pretty soon.
And a love for the truth.
That's it.
A love for the truth and a willing to risk. I mean, you think some of the old school investigative reporters.
Yeah.
I mean, those, there's like movies and stories about their willingness to just risk it all just to tell the story.
Yeah.
Because corrupt, powerful people didn't want the story to get out.
right.
Yeah.
Project Veritas, some of the heroes in this story. David Dalladin, exposing Planned Parenthood,
That's right.
heroes in this story. But it takes that kind of courage, that kind of adventurous spirit, and a love of the truth, and be willing to say, look, I just want the truth out there.
That's right.
And then let God sort it out.
We're going to have to make those kind of people. Remember we were talking about the 9/11 thing, and it's like, man, I don't think we make those kind of
the
men
people
that go
that
into burning buildings
run
anymore.
back into the building burning.
Right.
Burning building.
If a guy's not willing to take that, and he's taking threats on like, well, if you do that, we'll fire you, and that scares him, then we don't have the right people. And I think we have way more of those people than we do the ones who run the burning buildings.
That's right.
So we're going to have to make the new folks.
Speaking of new folks and smartphones and social media, using a smartphone or computer opens the door to a host of digital temptations. In a world saturated with pornography and other harmful content, what's a Christian to do? We need to take a proactive approach, welcoming transparency in our digital media choices and accountable to you. That's the word accountable, the number 2, and then the word you makes that easy. Their accountability software shares detailed activity reports from all your devices and your kids' devices in real time to the accountability partners you choose. With accountability in place, your family can effectively guard against temptations online and live with purity and integrity. Learn more and try it free at accountable, the digit number 2, you.com/FLF. And don't just take our word. Here's a word from one of our Fight Laugh feasters. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Chad Martin, accountable to you, is so thorough that it flagged cross-politic on my son's phone because you had the words, quote, free sex in the title of your show. What?
We did?
Yeah, Chad emailed us.
Who did that? Yeah. Well done. Accountable to you. Better safe than sorry.
Wow.
Thanks for all your content. My older 2 teenage boys and I love listening to Cross Politic and the FLF network. That's a great report.
Great feedback, Chad. Holding Cross Politic accountable,
Whose ad was this? Was this accountable to you or a Cross Politic ad? I don't know which one.
This is Cross Politic. So the White House put out a statement. We're coming up to the end of the second quarter GDP.
Yeah.
Okay. The second quarter reporting numbers are coming out this week. The White House put out a statement changing the definition of what a recession is. Okay. And in quote, it says, in terms of the technical definition, 2 negative quarters of growth do not make a recession anymore.
Yeah. Kind of like what they do with the definition of a vaccine.
And woman.
I was going to say.
and a woman.
Until they can define what a woman is, I don't trust them.
And a marriage.
Notice, though, the definition's all under attack.
That's right. Yeah. The Pastor Wilson said for years that the central battle is over the dictionary.
Yeah, that's right. And they change it. And they don't have to be accountable come Thursday when the report comes out.
But this actually lines up with the whole point about journalism and fight over truth. If you don't believe that, this is postmodernism in action. If you don't believe that truth actually exists, then all you're fighting over is power. Manipulation. Right. And words are just things you use to manipulate people with to try to create your own truth.
Right.
And you think the truth is basically what 97% of
what we voted on.
Climatologists say it is. And if you vote to redefine marriage as whatever you want it to be, 2 dudes and a poodle or whatever, accountable to you. Sorry. Probably just got flagged again. But, whatever, you define a woman as whatever you want it to be, birthing person or whatever, then that's...
Why can't you define...
Postmodernism says there is no ultimate truth, and basically we are the ones forcing reality, meaning upon chaos.
Right.
I don't want those people in charge of our economy.
Too late.
That's
Janet Yellen. You remember Janet Yellen? She said a couple months ago that we didn't predict how bad inflation was going to get. We missed that one.
Oh yeah.
And then so one of the reasons why they're actually redefining what GDP is right now, or redefining what a recession is because GDP is going to be coming out.
Yeah. At the end of this week.
At the end of this week, probably with a negative report.
Right.
And
probably
the Biden administration doesn't want to say the R word.
They're prepping everyone.
The recession word. And GDP. Just real quick for those who want a little education information on this. Bring up the chart about GDP. GDP is basically business investments plus government spending plus exports minus exports, and then you get GDP. And so here's kind of a rough chart of what kind of most of that looks like and what's going on. Now, Janet Yellen said this week, she said this week, we aren't in a recession, we're in a transition.
What kind of transition?
Yeah, right.
From what to what?
One of the medical surgeries, I don't know.
I think the transition she's talking about is from freedom to tyranny.
Well, we happened that a long time ago. So, guys, I got to tell you something. So, I woke up today, and like always, I dread production Mondays because you don't have a news cycle. And so you got to find, like, what's your news? It's a little harder.
Yeah.
But I went to Twitter like I always do to see what's trending, what's going on. And it's like God just gave, it's like Christmas in July. That's what it felt like, Christmas in July. I went on there and it said trending Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is a gift from
Like,
God.
Merry Christmas.
And then I clicked,
talk about this today.
I clicked on some of the things that were trending that were going on, and it was like, these stupid Christians think that God judged Sodom and Gomorrah because of homosexuality. It was because of how he took care of the poor, and they were fat. And I was like, it's politics and Sodom and Gomorrah? I mean, it's like God was just like, Knox, you don't need to worry.
He's taking care of you.
He's taking care of
I'll
it.
give you some content.
And I was like, we got a pastor, some deacons. Why don't we revisit this story and maybe deal with some of the issues? Because, look, we want to make sure we stay in the trending lines. So it just happens to be this is right in our
trending lines.
I was like, I want you to talk about the Bible and politics.
It's like, well, thank you, Jesus.
Right. So the masked blue Texan example of this trending. Why does the atheist have to point out that Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because their conservative leadership refused to provide aid to the poor? It certainly wasn't because doctors were providing gender-affirming care.
Wow.
You got any more? You got any more in there? Are there any more?
I'm dying.
Oh, here we go. Oh, look, the Bible.
Oh,
They bring
love it.
Ezekiel
Thank you,
16 in
Jesus.
it. Thank
Oh,
you.
my goodness.
You got atheists
you.
digging out the Bible. Not that it would make much difference, but it might be fun if more people reminded folks who scream about Sodom and Gomorrah of what exactly those cities were doing wrong. Ezekiel 16, 49 and 50. Actually, I've got it right here.
That's the cutoff
They're
version.
using the NIV version.
They would.
Yeah, behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. They were haughty and committed abominations before me. Therefore, I took them away.
It's a 5-step program.
I saw good.
Didn't we talk about this a little bit in Deuteronomy about when you come into the land, don't act like the people before you.
Right.
They will spew you out.
Yeah,
don't act
Anyway,
like
go ahead.
pagans. Yeah.
Pastor, I would just love just to... Whatever you was doing over there with your pen, and you was over there doing stuff with your pen earlier, and it's like you were chefing up some stuff. I was like, oh, this is going to be good. I'm just going to let you...
And for the record, while I was trying to take some notes, he was over there doing that.
Because I was smelling what was cooking.
Which you can't work. You can't work.
Yeah, if I'm over your shoulder.
Looking over the shoulder.
What you cooking?
Yeah, chefs know better. But, I mean, first of all, like, number one, if they bring up the Bible, be like, okay.
I love it.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
talk
you.
about the
Yeah,
Bible.
yeah. Thank
okay,
you.
so let's just say for the sake of argument. Oh, okay. For the sake of argument, yeah, that's all. That's only reason. That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
Okay.
They were mean. They were mean, and they didn't take care of the poor.
Okay.
Fine. What else that Bible say?
Oh,
What else that Bible say?
well, kind of a lot.
I mean, you don't have to have the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, I mean, the Bible also says that God made them male and female.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Bible also says that marriage is one man and one woman. The Bible also says that beware that you do not cause the little ones to stumble. It'd be better for you to have a millstone tied around your neck and thrown into the bottom of the sea. Jesus said that, in fact. Jesus. So, I mean, we don't even need to have this story. If you just want to, you're citing the Bible, bringing up Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. Now, let's zero in a little bit further.
Please do. We got popcorn.
The whole chapter. Let's just read Ezekiel 16 since they're so excited about Ezekiel 16. I mean, okay, again, for the sake of argument, maybe Sodom and Gomorrah just got burnt off the crust of the earth because
they're conservative, led by conservatives.
They didn't believe in the Democratic platform.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But earlier in the chapter, we've got plenty about sexual immorality. The same Ezekiel. Same Ezekiel.
That's
right?
important, huh?
This is God coming, and you want me to read it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Come on.
kind of. I mean, since they
Thou
started it.
hast also committed fornication with the Egyptians. your neighbors. I'm not going to read the rest of that verse because it's going to get flagged by Accountable to You. Thou hast moreover multiplied thy fornication in the land of Canaan unto Chaldea, and that yet thou was not satisfied with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just keeps going. As a wife that commits adultery, which taketh strangers instead of her husband, they give gifts to all the whores.
Oh.
But thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers, and you hired them. God's saying Israel was like a prostitute that paid people to sleep with her.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not how it works.
That's what it says.
But that's how bad their condition was.
That's how messed up they were. Okay, so
they weren't even being just like a regular whore.
And they're like, exactly. It says, and the contrary is in thee from other women in thy whoredoms, whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms, in that thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee, therefore thou art contrary.
Right.
Because thy filthiness was poured out, thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms, with thy lovers, with all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Okay, they sacrificed their babies to have sex with all the nations.
Yep.
Oh.
Does that sound?
Does that sound anything like America?
We just talked about that.
That's what I'm saying.
We just talked about that last week about like, I had to remember that clip we played from Emmanuel Acho?
Yeah.
And all the ladies were up
ladies,
there. The whole point was they had to sacrifice their children to get their careers.
Yeah, to get their careers.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Right, those are false gods.
So all these atheists are pro-life now.
Well, apparently, because they're citing Ezekiel 16.
So they're repenting of their atheism.
I'm waiting for them to quote 16, verse 36. Mm-hmm. But I'm not holding my breath. But finally, okay, one more thing. Okay, you know why Sodom? I mean, here's the thing. Sodom and Gomorrah really was full of pride, fullness of bread, abundance of idleness, and they also didn't help the poor.
Right.
That's true.
That is true.
And you know why? Because they were too busy committing fornications everywhere.
Right.
Okay? And actually, the story, if you go back to Genesis, let's just look at it straight up. The story of Genesis is a story of a massive failure of hospitality.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, especially in the ancient world.
That's right.
You got strangers that are welcomed into the house of Lot.
Yeah.
Right? They're angels.
Yep.
Definitions, once again.
Right? And in the ancient world, it's a massive crime against humanity not to show hospitality to strangers. Because in the ancient world, you didn't have hotels.
Right.
You mean, this is your life was in danger potentially if you're a stranger in a strange land.
Right.
And then to be welcomed in, Lot plays the part of hospitality, welcomes them, takes care of them, and then they come beating on his door and they want to rape him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it was a failure to help the poor. It was. They were full of pride, fullness of bread, abundance of idleness. And what did they do with that idleness? They committed fornication, sodomy. All right. It's not unconnected. And here's a word for the conservatives. And we've talked about this before. You don't one day think, I want to go sodomize someone.
That's right.
Okay. Psalm 19 says you have secret faults, presumptuous sins, great transgressions.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And it is fact that if you give in to idleness and pride
and laziness,
and you do not help the poor and needy, especially the ones in your own home,
right?
Okay, you are giving in to secret faults, presumptuous sins, and you are on the path to great transgressions that do bring the judgment of God, are the judgment of God.
Okay.
Actually.
We got some more for backstage because this ain't we just getting warmed up. So if you're a Fight Laugh Feast Club member, you better be this backstage. It's about to go down. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. And jump on that thread. This thing should trend for the next 2 months.
You can share this show and put the hashtag Sodom and Gomorrah on it.
You should totally
throw us into the conversation.
Hi, I'm Robert Borton, CEO of Classical Conversations, the world's largest classical Christian homeschooling community. I'm launching a new podcast, Refining Rhetoric. If you like cross-politics or just listen to hear what crazy stuff they're saying today, you will enjoy Refining Rhetoric. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform. I practice the 15 tools of learning by interviewing great guests, looking at current events, and talking about cryptocurrency.
Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, seeds are planted, meals are shared, and stories are told.
We are Chris and Natalie Carpenter, owners of Story Real Estate, and our team of top agents helps people find homes in Moscow, Idaho, and around the country.
Have you thought about a move? Contact us to get connected with a top agent who shares your values and puts your family first. or reach out to us about our Moscow relocation guide.
Wherever you're looking to go, we can help you find home. Call us at Story Real Estate or visit us at storyrealestate.com and start building your legacy.